Hey, Summit Chasers, welcome to another episode of Voices of Impact, the podcast where you learn strategies to amplify your influence and impact. Today, I am thrilled to have KerryAnne Kelley with us, the visionary behind Emodi Movement. KerryAnne is on a mission to transform lives by intertwining fitness, therapy, and spirituality, guiding individuals from their heads back to their heart. She is here to share her unique approach to well-being, why being intentional with your inner circle is so important, and the impact of uplifting those around you. Get ready to be inspired to chase your dreams and learn how to define your inner circle. It starts right now. Hi, KerryAnne. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm so excited to chat with you and share your story and just all the amazing things that you bring to people's lives.
Thank you, Audrina. I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm so excited to share some time and just get a chance to talk. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Okay, so kicking off, my favorite question to ask people is, looking back on your life or career, what is a pivotal moment or experience that really set you on the path that you're on now?
Absolutely. For me, there is one moment that totally changed the trajectory of what I felt like was possible for my life. I had grown up in a household with two disabled parents that divorced when I was young, and my mother was abusive, and I moved across the country with my aunt and uncle when I was 17, and I had wanted to do pageants my entire life. I grew up really girly as a dancer, and something about it just always seemed fabulous to me. And they said, absolutely, if you want to do it and you want to pay for it with your own money, go for it. And so I went to the mall and got a job at the Buckle the next week and saved every cent that I possibly could and competed in the National American Miss Teen Colorado pageant. And my first year, I got top 10, and I was so excited because I hadn't had any coaching or practice or experience, and it felt huge to me. And then I went back the next year, and I was living on my own at that point and was paying my way through college and just really like embracing this adult world. But I went back and I won. And I remember my dress was $100, and I was standing next to these other girls that had dresses that were thousands of dollars and had gone through all of these years of coaching. And for me to have had that chance to win amidst what seems like all odds, and I felt like an underdog, it just really made it available for me that I could do absolutely anything. And so that really brought me into a 10-year career as a speaker traveling the country. It allowed me to chase my dream and become a Minnesota Vikings cheerleader, to start my own business, so many great things. But that was the moment for me where I was like, wow, I can really do it if I set my heart and my mind and my action to it.
That is so cool. I got chills while you were saying that. And I think what's really amazing is that you got to learn that at a fairly young age, right? Like, not many people learn that kind of lesson, that they can go after what they want to go after and achieve it at that young of an age. So what did that do for you when you realized that?
You know, I think, firstly, thank you. I appreciate that. And I feel like all of the things that have happened in my life have happened for me. And resiliency is definitely like a huge characteristic of mine that I've built over the years, because going through experiences like that and not necessarily having the same level of support that other people might had really allowed me to be my own agent in my life and to seek my own acceptance and to look to myself to determine what I wanted and what I defined as successful. I remember growing up as a dancer, I would be in like 9 or 11 dance classes a week, and it was like my whole life. But my family would always tell me, don't grow up and be a professional dancer. Don't do it. You're going to get addicted to drugs. You're going to be broke. It's going to be terrible. You're going to be on the streets, right? And so it was kind of this dichotomy of like, fall in love with something, but stay practical and stay linear. And for me, being able to still chase my dreams and decide like, no, this was my truth. This is what I wanted. And this is what fills my soul up and what success looks like to me, really allowed me to kind of take that back. And I think that's something that people struggle a lot with, especially within their families, let alone their friends or their partnerships. But just feeling like who you truly are and what you truly want to go after in life is accepted and wanted and needed. But when you allow yourself to become the person that is the first answer for that, it really changes everything.
Yeah, that is pretty incredible. And I think that, like you said, a lot of people can struggle with it, especially when the people around them don't support what they want to go after. So, what are some ways that people can lean into owning themselves and their truth and their purpose and going after it? Because I think that that's much easier said than done. Like I said, absolutely amazing that you were able to take that and learn it at such a young age, because it set you up to be where you are today. But I know that that's not as easy for everybody. Even I'll say myself, I've definitely struggled with things like that in the past, where I will find myself, maybe I would hold myself back. In my previous marriage, I would hold myself back all the time because I was so scared to outshine my
Mm,
ex-husband.
mm.
And so, yeah, what are some ways that people can overcome that and just be themselves and live life for themselves while still respecting the people that they love and care about?
Mm, mm. Yeah, it's such a tough one, and I so resonate. I had a relationship with my ex-fiance where I really found myself struggling to maintain that boundary within myself. But something that I learned in a really huge way through that experience and all of the other experiences in my life is that remembering your why and being able to share that with the people around you is the most important thing in the world. When you can share how something impacts you, why it's important to you, how it moves you, what it does for you, you create feeling in other people. And that's really what it's about. If we can feel each other, if we can understand each other, if we can allow ourselves to express how important something is and what it does to us or what not doing it does to us, right? Like, because of a lifestyle that I was living, I had to take a step back from teaching movement classes, which is one of my deepest passions in the world. And I felt that. I felt the not doing that. And so when you're able to really express impact and share your why, I think it makes it a lot more available for people to be able to meet you there, because they might not understand the thing, but they'll understand the feeling and a little bit more easily than just understanding kind of a concept or something that doesn't totally make sense to them. But explaining your why is really helpful.
I love that. That's huge. It's something that actually, I think I told you this. I will have mentioned this in the intro, but KerryAnne and I are actually very good friends. So we definitely know each
Yeah.
other a little bit better than most of the people that I'm speaking to on here. But having a why, I agree, is so, so important, and just the key to helping you push through those really hard times too, right? Like
Yeah.
if you've got something that you're so sure this is the reason why I'm doing it, and my alarm goes off at 5:30 a.m. sometimes and I want to hit snooze, but I'm like, okay, I know that the reason why I'm doing this is so much bigger than me not getting enough sleep. It's huge in creating that drive behind yourself for yourself,
Mhm.
but then also allowing you to push through those really tough times and the
Definitely.
opinions of others, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Because you
for
have to live
sure.
with you for forever.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And yeah, it kind of comes back to that first thing we were talking about, when it's like when you allow yourself to be the agent, the captain, the person running your own show, and you remember your why and you trust that intuition and in your body and your truth, like your truth's not going to be the same as anybody else's, point blank. It's just not. And
Mhm.
so we can allow that and accept that and stay true in ours and remember our why and come back to it, because it's bigger than the right now or this moment. And it's really important and hard.
One of the things though, when we're talking about this, like finding your why and living your truth and all that, community is still such a big part of your life and all of our lives. Connection is one of those human things that we all long for. So how do we go about still creating those connections and making sure that they're the ones that serve us? Maybe defining your own inner circle, if you will. What are some of the ways that we can do that and not compromise what fuels us?
So appreciate this question. You know, community is incredibly important to me. I've had times in my life where I haven't had any at all. And I'm blessed at a place now where I have an abundance. And I think amidst abundance, it's almost like walking into a Target aisle versus like a very local grocery store when there's so many choices on the shelf, right? And there's so many options. There's organic, there's locally sourced, there's flavors, all of these things. But you have to know the one that's right for you. And you have to know the one that's going to nourish you the most and the one that is going to feed your soul and sustain you, right? And so I have really rooted into this concept, like you were saying, almost of like an inner circle. And I kind of like to think of it, because of my time on Vikings, almost as like a halftime show of like, I'm putting on my own halftime show every single day, right? These people that I'm surrounding myself with, my inner circle, these people that are the people that I know when the time comes are going to show up and perform in my life, whether that means taking me to the hospital in an emergency, whether that means coming to celebrate me for an incredible launch of my business, whether that means allowing me to cry on their shoulder when I'm grieving a loss. I need to be able to count on these people. And I think a lot of times within friendships, especially, I see people that have these long-standing friendships that they've had since childhood. My best friend, we have been best friends since I was 18. She was actually a judge when I won National American Miss Teen Colorado, and we've stayed best friends ever since. But the reason that I believe that we have the relationship we do is because we're really intentional about maintaining that connection. And what I've realized over the years too is, amidst all of those choices on the grocery shelves, amidst being blessed with an abundance of community, that there are few people that are really going to sit there and be the people that you can depend on no matter what for a long period of time. And it's really important to surround yourself with those people, because it's going to allow you the safety and support that you need in order to ensure that you can live a huge, amazing, beautiful life. I did the halftime show with Justin Timberlake in 2018 when I was on the Vikings team. And there are 30,000 people that go onto that field to support the show, let alone the people doing the lights, the music, all of this. It is massive for just a really short amount of time, right? And if you're wanting to do big things in the world, you're going to need huge teams of people to support you, whether that is your family structure, your friends, your community, the people that you hire in your workspace, the people that you work with, and you want them to be people that you depend on. And so with these people that are closest to you, that you know you can maintain your relationships with amidst living your big life and wanting to pursue and do and give and create so much, it's also important to keep that tight, because the energy that you're giving and that they're going to need from you and that the people in the world need from you, you have to be able to moderate it and find some balance. And so for me, this tightest inner circle group of people, these like front camera people, no more than 4 to 6 people in that group for me. And these are people that I know within a 72-hour time frame, if anything went crazy, that I could call them and they would be there no matter where they are in the world. Those are the level of people that I'm saying are your closest front row, on stage, on camera, performer people, your inner circle. And then the next round, I like to think of them as kind of like your backup dancers, your second row, your second ring circle, whatever you like to call it, no more than 6 people. Because if we're looking at really being able to show up for these people in the second row too, in that second ring, that second circle as well, because they're important to us and they support us and they support our relationships, we also have to be mindful of, again, how many people and how they're showing up for us and how available we are to show up for them. So what I do is every single quarter, I'm a very structured person. I love to sit down. I love the vision boards. I love just like journaling, getting everything laid out. But every quarter, I sit down and I evaluate who these people are in my life, who's in my inner circle, who are my front camera, my top performer people. Those 4 people really are what I'm looking at. And these are people that at least once a week I'm reaching out to maintain connection with. at least once a week, if not twice a week. I try twice a week because a lot can happen in a week. A lot of things happen in a week. And so we want to ensure that if these are the people that are showing up to support us, right? Like we've got relationships, we've got finances, we've got jobs, kids, pets, traveling, life, like dreams, all this stuff. A lot happens in that time. And so if they're supporting you and you're supporting them once to twice a week, you're reaching out to check in, right? And then within a 2-week time frame, if you guys live in the same area, try and see them once within that 2-week time frame. You can't always do it because of traveling, because of schedules, but really at least every 2 weeks, do a FaceTime date. If you don't live close, like make that intentional quality time to be with each other, to feel each other's energy, to see each other, to support each other. That second ring circle of people, your backup dancers, whatever you want to call them, once every 2 weeks, we're checking in with these people. We're making sure that they're doing okay. Life feels good. How can I support you? What's happening ahead for you? When can I see you in the next month, right? These people are people we're trying to see once a month to maintain that quality time, that intentional connection with. So if we look at it, that's like 8 to 10 people that we've got there. We're seeing them once to twice a month each, right? We're reaching out, we're maintaining that intentional connection. That's a good amount of time and energy. But I promise you, it's not just giving, right? It's also receiving. That's when you get to ask, when you get to share, when you get to let them know where you're at, where you get to depend on them too. And so it's not just this pouring out, but it's also this act of receiving. And so for me, that's the boundary that I feel good operating within, because it allows me to know that I'm showing up, that I know what's happening for them, that they know what's happening for me, and that we have some time together to look forward to. And I'm going to be honest, I've had a real blatant and stark experience learning on how to shift people in and out of these circles. And the people on that inner circle, your top performer people, are not people that came into your life a month ago. They're not people that came into your life 3 months ago. These are people that for the long haul are in it to win it with you. And don't be afraid if the quarter hasn't come and someone shifts in or out of the circle. That's okay. I remember when I was making my first inner circle list this year, it was the start of the year, maybe January 2nd, and my notebook page fell out. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And the next day, 2 of the people in those circles shifted on out, baby. And so it's okay to say, this isn't working for me. You're not maintaining the level or the standard that I need to feel supported and to support you. This is what I need. It's okay to allow that shift to happen, that flow in and out, to make cuts when you need to. It's okay because it's your show. It's your life. And you get to decide who supports you and how great it gets to be because of that. And so don't be afraid at any point in time to change course or directions too.
I feel like you just dropped so many like nuggets throughout there that I just absolutely loved. Some of the things, if I can remember them all, I'm actually going to be so proud of myself. But firstly, one of the things that stood out to me was the reciprocity, right? Like there is no point in pursuing relationships, connections with people if it is not reciprocated. And I'm not saying that at all times they have to reciprocate the exact amount of energy that you put in, because sometimes you might be going through a hard time, so they need to give a little bit more. And then when they're going through a hard time, you give a little bit more, right? It has to be a balance, but there has to be reciprocation between the two of you for it to be a relationship and worthy of kind of being within that inner circle or being your top performers, right?
Totally. Yeah. And I think that that's really important to remember that, yeah, we're human and relationships are not transactional. And when you continually experience a pattern of someone not showing up for you in the ways that you need, you're not obligated to maintain a relationship with them in the closeness and capacity that you once had. And I think that's a lot of the time, whether it's family members or longstanding friends or just even someone you went deep quick with, like whatever it looks like, we kind of put that upon ourselves. But it really, receiving is one of the best gifts that we can give ourselves and give to others, because the right people want to show up. There's nothing that people want more than to feel valuable, right? And to feel needed, and to give them the opportunity to do that. It's such a gift. Like, I'm like, please call me crying. Please let me know when you're having a bad day. Please let me know when everything in your life goes crazy. I want to be there. I want to show up, and I want to see if we can change the dial that you're at from a 4 to a 6, because it matters to me, and I want to do that. And I know that there's so much to give to somebody else when you allow yourself to receive from them too. But we have to be really mindful about where that energy is going, and if it's going to people that have a pattern of not showing up for us in the ways that really do give us that reciprocity and that feeling full too, it's okay to let that flow.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest things in there is that those long-standing or the family, right? Because it is so hard to make that decision when it comes to someone that's been in your life for a long time or a family member. But truly, you are doing a disservice to yourself if you cannot make those hard choices, especially if you want to live a big life, right? If you really want to just go out there and give it your all, you're going to have to do some hard things along the way, whether that means stepping back. And we're not saying cut people out of your life unless they are incredibly toxic, then I am all for it personally. But we're saying establish those boundaries and make sure that you're setting yourself up for the success in the life that you want. And it's okay if there's a family member or a friend that you've been with for 15 plus years that you realize is not serving you and is not going to support you and elevate you. Do you have any suggestions on how to handle things like that? Because I know that you've been through it.
Yeah. I've lost many best friendships over the years, relationships, family. For me, what it comes back to is doing this practice of checking in once a quarter has allowed me to more actively participate in how often I'm making those decisions. And so for me, it's about really taking the time to be present with what is. And now that I've been doing this for a while and I'm a little bit more active in doing it, and I've seen the longevity and the effects of it, it's a little bit easier for me because those relationships that I have allowed to flow out are a little bit further away. And what has made it easier for me along the way is ensuring that the rest of the seats around me are filled with really incredible people that I can lean on in those times when someone that is really important to me or has been really meaningful to me or in my life for a long time is someone that I have to let flow a little bit further away from me in life. And I think that's incredibly important, is to not self-isolate and to not go through it alone. And that's something that I have definitely learned over the years. And still am going through a learning process of like not hermiting or not feeling the need to shut down, but really leaning in and allowing the people around me to know what's happening and how I'm feeling, and allowing them to support me in that. So ensure that your seats are filled with really good people, because there might be some hard losses along the way. There might be some difficult things, but when you allow yourself to be surrounded really intentionally by a core group that you know is going to show up for you, that you know is there, like it makes it a lot easier. And so do it often and participate in it fully, like make those connections and use them. And along the way, then you're just continuing to be supported even when the difficult moments happen.
Yeah, which makes them a hell of a lot easier to get through too. I
It's
really
true.
love the intention that you set behind this. Like you said, it's structured. You like to have an out, like know what you're doing, know what your plan of attack is, and define who those people are. And I think that having that structure allows you to get really, really clear. And I hadn't heard of that. I remember when we were visiting and we were talking about this because it came up because we were paying attention to how our energy shifted. Like we had a weekend together in December and hadn't seen each other in over a year in person, at least over a year. Came together that weekend, had the best time, and like both of our
Like
energy
no
were
time
just
ever
feeling
passed.
so good. We were getting excited about our futures and our businesses and creating the whole weekend, and it was just such an amazing time. And it was during those times that we realized how much our energy can shift depending on who we're around, and how important it is to pay such close attention to that. Again, I'm going to go back to when you're wanting to create a big life and really make an impact in the world, in your corner of the world or your space, whatever it is that you're doing. You have to be so mindful of the people that you allow to be in and around your space, and pay attention to how they make you feel. Does your energy come up? Do they suck the life out of you? And then be intentional about making those changes if you need to. And I love the focus that you put on it too, because I think another thing that can get really hard is when you're juggling all of these things in life. You're running a business, you're trying to stay fit, you're trying to make sure your mental health is okay, you're trying to maintain relationships. It can be so much for us to juggle and to balance. So to actually set aside that intentional time to connect with these people that you've determined are the ones that are important to you and your top performers, and then even that second row, it makes such a difference in just allowing them to feel like they are a part of your life too, and then allows you to show up for them and them to show up for you. So I love all of that.
Thank you. Yeah, this is just coming to me right now too. And I think a really important part of this is also remembering how much we change every quarter, every week, every day, right? And so I know for me, it's like every year, maybe every quarter, I know every quarter, every year, every 6 months, I have new goals. I have new things that I want to do. I have new places I want to be. I have new areas of my life that I'm expanding into. And so part of it is also looking and seeing, okay, like, are these people that are going to shift with me? Are these people that are still in alignment with where I continue to find myself, putting myself in alignment? Or are there people that maybe I'm not as close with, but that are doing the things in the world that I want to be doing and that I admire and I want to be more like, and I want to develop a closer relationship with them? Maybe there's someone that I want to bring into my circle because I see what they're doing and I want to be more like that. And I want more of that energy, and I want us to be doing this same generative thing together, right? And so we're always shifting and realigning and moving in different directions. And so while those shifts are happening, it's not against anybody else, right? It's more towards ourselves. And so as we shift those directions, it's naturally going to shift those people because they're also shifting directions. And so it's okay for all of that because it's doing a check-in with yourself and for yourself, right? And it allows you to show up for them and give them the space to do the same.
I think that's a really great point too, because a lot of times the guilt will come with it, right? If we're changing and they're changing, but it's a really great way to look at it, to reframe the way that you just reframe that as we are all evolving all of the time. And just because the person that you were initially connected to is evolving and changing in a different way that doesn't quite align with you, that's okay. They're on their own path and you're on yours. So it's okay to acknowledge that. And I also think that it allows you to take some of the pressure off of yourself if you realize that we're all changing and evolving all of the time. So that is incredibly helpful.
Thank you.
You have a way of truly making the people that you interact with and encounter feel like they can achieve anything. Like, it's one of the things that I admire about you is you have this way about lifting others up and truly making them feel like they can achieve exactly what it is that they want to achieve. And I think that that's beautiful, but I'm kind of curious, do you think that that's something that's learnable? Do you think that there's a tip that you can give to people that would allow them to just leave whoever they encounter feeling better, either about themselves or their lives or what they're trying to achieve?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, as much as I wanted to give you this like deep answer, this other thing came to mind, but it's something that just like sticks with me and I think comes through in my being. And when I was a Minnesota Vikings cheerleader, we had this retreat at the beginning of the year every year. And the coaches would sit us down and they would explain to us that, listen, not everyone's going to be at the front of the dance pyramid all the time, or not everyone is going to get that appearance with Darius Rucker or with Kiss or whoever, like, but when it happens, be happy for your sister. Be so happy for your sister. And the way that they had us kind of do this that brought a lot of fun into it for me was there were 42 girls on the team at the time. And we all paired up and we played this game of rock, paper, scissors. We'd play 3 rounds, and whoever won that round, the loser would then have to go behind them and cheer them on and be their hype girl. And so it goes and goes and goes. And so the winner of every single round then has more and more and more hype girls behind them. And you just find yourself cheering this person on because they're going farther and you're behind them. And it doesn't matter that you didn't win at the beginning. It matters that you're on their team and that they're progressing and that you're seeing them win. And there's so much joy when everyone participates in that. And it's a game that I so often think of because I just love the energy behind it of like everyone coming together, just screaming and cheering somebody else on with their whole heart because you're a part of their team. And I think for me, I believe in showing up like that in the world, like, still full-time cheerleader, even though I'm not on the field or team any longer, but showing up in people's lives and genuinely cheering them on because people can feel that and experience that, right? And so, when someone's being authentic with you, when someone wants the best for you, when someone doesn't and they're just saying it, right? And why not cheer them on? Because they are going in their own direction and they have their own gifts and their own challenges too. And we're all going to win at times. We're all going to lose at times. But if we can just be cheering each other on, the amount of energy and positivity that can really generate, and the belief inside of ourselves that everyone wants good things for us too. I think the more that we can live like that, the more just radiant, dream filled, beautiful people the world will have in it. And it's like, why not?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was kind of getting chills while you were talking about that, but I think what I'm shocked the most about is that it came from the Vikings cheer experience, because I feel as a female, right? I feel like typically you would have this impression that might have been a bit of a catty world or just girls going behind each other's backs. So the fact that you took that away from when you were in a Vikings cheerleading team is, like I said, like it shocked me that that's where that came from. I was not expecting that at all. And I think that is so cool. And also, if the Vikings cheerleaders can do it, then every other girl squad out there can do it, right? Like, and this is obviously not just for the girls, but like girls are typically the ones that have a little bit more of the talking behind each other's backs and they get in a little bit catty. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is something that's so important and something that I know you and I have talked about just even within our friendship that, we haven't experienced together, but we've individually experienced of like this sisterhood wound that goes super, super deep with women. And frankly, before I tried out for the team, I was terrified as well that it was going to be so many catty girls, a lot of scary ladies, but I had done pageants for a few years at that point, and I will assure you there are many, many more in the pageant world, although there are so many good ones too, but just my experience. But I truly was blown away by the caliber of women that were on the team with me and that the organization had as a whole over the course of the years. And it was the place that started to heal that sisterhood wound for me. And I have like full goosebumps right now, but these women, like when you're an NFL cheerleader, you're required to have a full-time job or be a full-time student. You also have to be on the team practicing 6 days a week. You have games, you have to maintain your own fitness, your hair, your spray tans, your nails, the whole nine. And so the level of woman that it takes to be able to do all of that and to maintain the friendships in their lives and the relationships in their lives and their mental health and wellness and all of it, it takes a really badass woman. And not only were those women all badasses, they were all some of the kindest, most authentic women I have ever met in my life. So hardworking, so genuine, and so many of whom I still maintain relationships to this day, that it's been 6 years I'm off the team, and they're still some of my closest friends and my sisters for life. And so I feel so blessed of being able to have that sisterhood wound starting to be healed within an arena that has a reputation for not being that. And I can say truly from my experience, it was really healing. And Skull Vikes, like, those girls are my sisters forever. And I'm so grateful for all of the ways that I learned how to be a better woman from them and on that team.
That's very cool. Don't go anywhere. This is just a quick word for our amazing sponsors at Koios. In a world craving customized solutions, Koios stands out by offering tailored leadership solutions. Their cutting-edge AI delves deep into personality insights that empowers leaders and business owners to adapt their approach to each team member's unique psychological profile. The result? A surge in motivation and productivity that traditional one-size-fits-all methods cannot match. But they don't stop there. Koios crafts synergistic teams by bringing together diverse personalities, creating an environment where innovation isn't just encouraged, it's actually inevitable. Imagine being able to pinpoint exactly what your team is missing to perform at their best, or have a clear understanding of a new hire's fit, how to lead, and get the best out of them. Koios is helping us redefine leadership and unleashing our clients and your team's potential. Start your journey today and lead with confidence tomorrow. Hit the link below and use code SUMMIT10 at checkout to receive 10% off for the first 3 months. Now, back to the episode. So one of the things that you actually mentioned earlier that you love and that just fills you and that you actually stepped away from for a bit was your classes and teaching through movement. So I want to jump into that with you and talk a little bit about the business that you have launched.
Yes. I'm so excited to be living and doing what I love again. It feels so good. My business is called Emodi Movement, and we are here to bridge the gap between fitness, therapy, and spiritual practices. For me, this has really been a life's work. I grew up as a dancer and very in my body. And trauma work and trauma healing has also been my life's work. And I started to become so much more aware of how incredibly linked our bodies and our health and our wellness is to movement and to energy. And so when I started learning all of these practices and seeing how powerful they were when you could put them all together, breath work, affirmations, movement, body scans, somatic massage, journaling, it really amplified how I was allowing myself to use my body as a vessel and a tool for understanding. There's so much information that our bodies hold. I must have been 18 when I read The Body Keeps the Score, which is an all-time favorite of all trauma healers and workers out there. If you haven't read it by Bessel van der Kolk, it's an incredible first step into understanding how much energy and information our bodies store. I went through my own massive journey from, pageantry and Vikings and growing up being a bulimic for 13 years, really having a destructive relationship with my body, really feeling like it was about aesthetics, like it was about how it looked. And like there was this level of perfection that I was never going to be able to meet, let alone keep. And I became a bar instructor at an amazing company called Bar 3 about maybe 6 years ago now, but it completely reframed how I viewed movement, and that it was important to slow down and to listen to my body. And I've had that story happen time and time again. I had a huge knee injury from a skiing accident in my young 20s. And then I really fell in love with running as a spiritual practice just because I had so much gratitude for being able to move. And so time and time again, I've kind of gone through these destructive patterns and then coming back to learning what healing my body actually means. And for me, this business and being able to teach others is really a culmination of understanding how much we can heal our bodies and how good we can be to our bodies when we honor them and when we say good things to them and when we believe those good things and we move in a way that respects and honors and holds whatever it is that's happening within our bodies, because it's going to stay there until we acknowledge it and then we find a way to move it out that actually works for us and that our body is safe enough to carry. And so I really wanted to pair all of these practices together and not have people feeling overwhelmed like I was at different points, trying to fit in the breath work and the affirmations and the movement and the therapy. And I'm like, so much things, not enough time. And so I wanted to condense it and to give this to people as a space they could set aside for themselves, for their body, their mind, and their soul. And to pair it all with the understanding of your emotions are in all of those.
I absolutely love what you're doing with Embody. I think it's so cool that you are making an effort to combine all those things, because you hit the nail on the head there. There is so much that we are all supposed to do when it comes to keeping up with like our just wellness in general, right? It encompasses so many different things. So I think it's so cool that you are taking all of the different pieces and then have created your own style of a movement class to embody all of those things. Pun intended there. The company is called Emodi Movement. I love that you found a way to combine all those things. Where do you see Emodi Movement going, say, in the next 6 months?
Absolutely. Yeah. So in the next 6 months, I'm going to be hosting a lot of in-person classes in addition to my virtual classes. And I'm so excited about that. So on the virtual platform, there's going to be all kinds of classes that are geared towards the different emotions that you're experiencing, whether that's grief, anger, joy, sadness. We've got movement for all of that. Got classes that are meant to open up all of your different chakras and get energy flowing again. We've got shorter classes that you can work into a busier day. And then we have longer classes that are up to 90 minutes that are really this luxurious, spacious time for you to set aside for yourself. I want this to be something that meets you where you're at, and where you don't feel forced to do a type of movement that's not where you're at, or forced to be in a place that doesn't feel authentic. I want this to just be something that feels really good, that people can hop online wherever they are in the world and take the class that they need. But for me, in person feels so juicy and so good and so connected. And so I also have some different organizations and spaces here in Denver that I'm going to be hosting classes at. I travel back to Minneapolis often, which is kind of like another adult home for me, and I'll be hosting some in-person classes there. And then I'm also spending some time somewhere very exciting and new to me, and that's in Playa Vinao, Panama. And I'll be hosting some live classes there. I do love to travel, and I have kind of mini homes in a lot of different places. And so I'm excited to start to host more in-person classes as I do travel to all of these places, and am very open as well to booking an entire experience out anywhere that anyone might be interested.
That is so exciting. I love that you're going to go the in-person route, because I know when we initially talked to you, it was mainly going to be virtual. So I think that is going to be huge, and just allowing people to experience it in the environment. Because it's one thing if you go into another room in your house and you try to get away from your kids or your partner or whatever it might be. but it changes the game, I think, when you step into a completely different environment where KerryAnne, you're able to create the space and the feel and all of that. So I think that's awesome. I'm really excited for you.
Totally.
I
Yeah.
have 2 final questions for you.
Let's do it.
When you're gone, what impact do you want to have made?
When I am gone, I want to have lit the way for as many people to alchemize their pain and trauma into more joy and more love as possible.
I love that. And you are absolutely going to do that. And I'm excited to watch it happen.
Yeah.
Final question is, what summit are you currently chasing?
Ooh, the summit I am currently chasing is allowing myself to step into this huge, big, bold version of myself that is going to step back into professional speaking again, that is launching my podcast in the next 2 months, and that is still running my full-time business too, and to just keep growing. And I also am bringing a book to market this year. So I have a lot of really big plans happening, a lot of big summits I'm chasing. I feel like I'm on Kilimanjaro with all of these, but some great peaks along the way in that rise, and all going together. And I know that I've got a killer team of trekkers with me along the way. So I feel very excited and ready to take on the climb.
That's so exciting. I didn't know about the book launch. You snuck that one on me. That is super exciting. But yeah, I'm so happy for you and all of the things that you have moving right now. You are chasing your summit and you're doing it daily. So thank you so much, KerryAnne, for joining me today.
Thank you, Audrina. Such a pleasure to be here with you. Always a pleasure to talk with you. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity. Thank you.
Final thing, can you tell everybody where to find you?
Absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram at Kerry Love and Light. So KerryLoveAnneLighdT, Kerry Love and Light. And you can find me online at Emodi Movement, EMBODI movement.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Audrina. I'll talk to you soon.
And that wraps up another episode of Voices of Impact. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you found value in our conversation, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more inspiring stories and actionable advice, make sure to hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Also, we would love to hear your thoughts and takeaways, so please leave us a comment below. And remember, no matter where you are on your journey, you have the power to climb higher and chase your summit. Until next time, Summit Chasers, keep pushing forward and stay inspired.